Well, hello there and welcome to the Kitchen of the Dollhouse for another reading of The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost for July 28th, the day of the winter. And here we have us an image or an illustration, if you like, of what I'm guessing is a rose there. I don't know, I'm not a botanist, but it could be a rose. And that would certainly make sense for the day of the winter. All right. Hey, is it July 28th and it's your birthday today? Well, if it is, I just want to say happy birthday. And if this video finds you, well, long or shortly after your birthday has already occurred, I hope you had a happy birthday. But for everyone else who's just joining us randomly, well, I want to say hello and welcome and hope you enjoy yourself. All right, before we dive in, let's quickly roll us some daily numbers, shall we? Why are we rolling some daily numbers? Well, this is the Diecast birthday cast, but for synchronicity's sake. And ooh, what did we roll us today? We got us a 2 and a 2. 4 of 4, a 2 in the crown and a 2 in the root. Now, that's for you New Age chakra folks. How you apply your numbers to the chakras? That's for more enlightened minds than my own, but I do know what you do with those numbers if you want to go on, say, a synchronicity walk. Well, you just take those numbers and you look out for them, and when you see them, you go after it, all right? So that may be something as simple as hitting up your local grocery store and making sure you head down aisle 2 and aisle 4, even if, say, that's the Asian food section and your palate isn't really good with the Asian foods. You never know. Maybe you'll run into an old friend, an acquaintance you haven't seen in years, or maybe you'll find some of those pocket sticks that you also desire but didn't realize were an Asian food group there. All right. You never know with synchronicity. Sometimes it can be just small little, it's a small world moments, or something even larger that you didn't think would have occurred, but wouldn't have happened otherwise if you hadn't gone with your numbers. Maybe you just go for a longer walk today, maybe a little extra 4 minutes on your walk, and you find a trail that's forever going to get put onto your new path. So, in any event, that has been synchronicity. A 2 and a 2. 4 of 4. Or maybe go roll your own dice, who's to say, but I'm putting them out there just for you. That's the intention. All right, hey, let's dive in with the birthday read. Your month is July, your day is the 28th, your sign is 4 to 6 degrees Leo of the Leo 1 period specifically. I was about to say Cancer. That was last week, buddy. And your quality and element is a fixed fire. All right, July 28th, the day of the winter. Those born on July 28th often manifest a strong desire to be first in their social or occupational sphere. Their form of authority is literally embodied in their person. More important than what they say or think is what they are. And those who come in contact with even the mildest of persons born on this day will soon learn that occupying a secondary position is not what a July 28th person has in mind. Those born this day are real survivors who are not content to just weather the storm, but to come out on top. In every realm of life, from the game room to the bedroom to the inner sanctum of the corporate boardroom, those born on this day seek to prevail. I don't know how you prevail in a bedroom. I thought that was a joint venture. Of course, such driven personalities face great emotional challenges. Others may find them unresponsive or accuse them of being insensitive when they go for their objectives at all costs. Furthermore, July 28th people are apt to arouse resistance to their plans when they realize how determined they can be to get their own way. Certain people skills must be cultivated by July 28 people, which can make their way in the world easier. Among these, diplomacy, patience, and understanding. If those born on this day come to see that their interests are often intimately tied in with those of others, and if they come to feel a part of a larger group, they will graduate to a more highly evolved state. If those born on this day are resistant to such growth and insist on pursuing an isolated course, they will eventually alienate even their closest friends. Learning to lose gracefully is another important lesson for July 28th people. They must eventually see that a desire to win at all costs is counterproductive to most forms of human interaction. It may take a string of defeats to bring them to such a realization, but because they are so often attractive and dynamic people, they may never come to such an understanding. Ultimately, those born on this day are faced with issues involving trust, acceptance, and love. The last named area is certainly the one in which the hardest earned but most rewarding personal development may be achieved. Learning to give love unconditionally and to accept it from others with few reservations is certainly an integral part of such growth. But for July 28 people, this may first involve reorienting their mindset to see love relationships less as a competition, a passionate battle of the sexes where power and control are central issues, and instead shifting the emphasis to a more lasting, sharing, and pragmatic way of relating. And after they have undergone such positive changes in themselves, finding the right partner, one worthy of trust and devotion, is the next step. Well, all right, what did I have to say in my notes here about the breakdown? What did I cook up here in the kitchen? All right, even though I did it elsewhere. All right, let's see here. This day showcases a very interesting dynamic. Let me tell you, a lot of people, even myself included, read a horoscope, something like, man, this can apply to anybody. Let me tell you something. This one right here, while some of the other Leos directly in line with this day, 27, 26, they had leadership as a principle there, but this one really drills down on a certain dynamic that's special to it. A desire to be first in your social circle and literally embodied authority is one of them. And I wonder what that looks like in a literal term, right? It's more like it should be written as a palpable term if you were supposed to idealize it in such a way that Gary Goldschneider used Elphas, I dare say. But hey, let's get away from the grammar, all right? Regardless such an idealized description. I will say that being more important than what you say or think is a very key takeaway and very important thing. I think that's something that has some real value. All right, especially if you're actually to come out on top after weathering a storm. But yes, beware of the collateral damage that you might cause to others, all right? With your sense and means of realizing your determination. I'd say the following if you're a domineering individual, like the boss, say. I'm certainly one of those people who, while I might not throw a wrench in your plans, I won't feel bad if your plans are dashed or if you come off too haughty in trying to get others to help you realize as much. I don't throw down with the people who are just throwing out orders and being strong and overly loud type, all right? That's where that whole thing comes into the diplomacy type of deal. I'm someone who likes to be asked to go do something and not told. And I'm sure you've met some of them people. If you are July 20 people, maybe you haven't, who are just, they're way too serious with everything. And you're just like, is this guy serious? Yes, he is serious. And it comes off very silly, all right? Take it from me, the person who's being told what to do in very serious overtones. It comes off silly, so be aware that some people aren't going to take you serious if you come off too serious, all right? So hopefully that helps you put a little perspective if you're one of them domineering types who hasn't evolved yet. Okay, what else do we got here? Mentioned with relation to love, reorient your mindset about the relationship in a pragmatic way of relating. I'd argue people want to see you succeed and even be a part of it. And if they don't see you as if they don't see you as someone like that, someone who's lost in their ego or too serious of the endeavor, well, you're apt to lose them. And that could be some collateral damage for you right there. But I suppose the other one is also because you're not going to get your project realized if you don't have the appropriate manpower, right? Can't do everything yourself, or maybe you can, and it's just going to take you the rest of your life. In any event, that's what I had to write for the breakdown. All right, let's dive in with your numbers and your planets. All right, I didn't want to come off negative Nancy there, but you got to put those things down. I thought it was important for you to understand that some people might see that there's a drawback there, and not just what it was saying in the breakdown. All right, your numbers and your planets. Get to it, buddy. Those born on the 20th of the month are ruled by the number 1, as 2 plus 8 equals 10, and 1 plus 0 equals 1. And by the sun, those ruled by the number 1 like to be first, and are of a definite viewpoint and eager to rise to the top. Because July 20th people already tend to be strongly dominant types, doubly emphasized by the sun's rulership of their astrological sign Leo, they must beware of being overcome by the power drives and drowning everyone around them in their energy. See there? What do we got here in the notes? Excellent way of putting it. Don't drown out folks with the more dominant powers of your sun-like energy there. The radiation can be bad in over extreme doses there. Or at least be aware there are folks like me who will stop going 100% with such an attitude. All right? Maybe other folks out there want to be dominated, who's to say? But that's where the proper amount of leadership comes in. You got to figure out who needs to be dominated and who doesn't work very well with domination. You can check out some of my Grant Leadership lesson videos. I dive into all sorts of war stories and Grant Leadership lessons, and I talk about all kinds of things that I've experienced myself in the Marine Corps there. Shout out to you Marines there. Semper Fi, huh? Hooray! Hooray! Alright, I said hooah like I was in the Army or some shit. Because I just got done watching Black Hawk Down. I was like, man, this is ridiculous. Alright, Semper Fi. Yeah, yut. Alright. So be mindful of your leadership style. That's what I had to write there. And Semper Fi, yes sir. Okay, let's dive in with your tarot. Oh, we get a little military-minded and the excitement just comes out. Alright. The first card of the major arcana is the Magician, who symbolizes intellect, communication, information, as well as magic. All right. Over his head is an infinity symbol, which in some tarot decks takes the form of a hat, and others a halo. Many interpretations may be drawn, one of which is the magician recognizes the cyclical and unending nature of life and is empowered by this understanding. The positive traits suggested by this in the first card is a diplomatic skill and a shrewdness, but negatively lack of scruples and opportunism. The choice rests with the July 28 person whether to use his or her power for moral or immoral ends. Okay, that's right. Moral or immoral ends. Know how to use your power. All right, what did I write for your tarot? You have the power to be diplomatic inside you, so do yourself the favor of reaching your goals by utilizing it. I know it may be, or it may irk you but just be willing to accept a mutiny or a full-on revolt if you can't bring yourself to do as much. I know I can imagine myself throwing diplomacy to the wind and let the chips fall where they may. At least I know best. The whole I know best, I can imagine myself doing as much. But I think everyone else is wrong and crazy, and if that's the same as your domination style, well, it's probably not going to work out. But I can imagine being dictatorial myself, even though I probably can't affect as much. I probably didn't say that the best, but hopefully you understood what I was saying. Maybe I should proofread the notes a little better. That's right. Okay. Let's move on to your health. As mentioned above, July 20 people are survivors. Therefore, they possess a great capacity to overcome illness and rehabilitate after accidents and injuries. And they must learn, however, that not all handicaps can be conquered and that certain chronic difficulties or diseases are better prevented than treated. Their refusal to accept what is wrong with them can sometimes make things worse, and in rare cases, catastrophically so. July 20th people also have a habit of resisting dietary limitations. So seeking the advice of a good dietist, family practitioner, or homeopath and following their recommendations can prove highly beneficial. And because of their intensely competitive nature, those born in this day are attracted to sports, but should not go overboard or become obsessed. All right, hey, this was a bit of a different health take here, and I've read quite a few of these. The whole thing about taking things easy because you've been a little bit too motivated there, but it seems to be right in line with the rest of the read here. So what did I say about your health? Really drills home the idea you won't take no for an answer to the extent you seemingly deny health issues. That's the part I found it interesting. And specific to your day. Let's see here. Why do I find that admirable for some reason? Well, maybe it's the Marine in me. Gotta keep going, no matter what, okay? Perhaps because I often let pain and discomfort get in the way of my own goals. Well, not all the time, but sometimes I am resistant to it. But that's important. You got to know when to call it a day, right? Sometimes I go a little bit further than I wanted to, kind of as a test, but some days I don't do as much. So I say stay determined, but maybe figure out a way to identify the issues that will set you back in the long run if you don't address them, which makes sense for all things in general, I suppose, not just for your health. Okay, hey, I read those notes a little bit better. Why couldn't I do that with the tarot there? One of the more eclectic practices, I suppose, so I couldn't get it right. But let's dive in with some advice. Learn to give unconditionally. Cultivate affection and kindness. The best interests of others may well be your own. Winning, they say that in quotations there, can sometimes be losing. Okay, I just had to sit with this one for a little while. As concise as it was, I said the best interests of others may very well be your own. And you can take care of people, they're more apt to take care of you. So if you got your project going where you need people to do the work for you, so to speak, well, winning, their winning is also your winning. But if your winning is not, the best interest of others may also be your own. So you take care of your folks, they're going to do the project, which in turn takes care of you. That's right. And what threw me was the winning can sometimes be losing. I suppose you're winning by being domineering, but you're losing because the people are quitting. Maybe that's what they mean there. But I also wrote here, winning can sometimes be losing seems very zen-ish, anyhow. Because I couldn't figure it out, but I think I just did. So hey, how about that? I just became enlightened. How about that? Okay, what else is there right here? Cultivate affection and kindness? Naturally. Why would you want to do that? Well, because we're all here together, right? And, people, they want to work better for people who are kind and all that. Unless you're in the military, because sometimes people need to be drilled down on. I suppose that's true in civilian life too, but when I got out and you did it, it didn't work for me so well. Any event, what else do we got here? Learn to give unconditionally. All easier said than done, but it makes sense. Okay, let's move on to your meditation, all right? Your meditation. Communicable diseases is an expression of humanity's need to share. Once again, communicable diseases is an expression of humanity's need to share. This one it kind of blew me away. They threw this one in here. I was like, I don't know about all that. Jeez, lack of self-control maybe. I'd say it's more like evidence of an expression of a need to share, all right? I would say fluid exchange is more maybe an expression of the human need to share. But yeah, so the communicable disease is evidence. All right, that's what I said for your meditation. All right, let's move on to your strengths and your weaknesses. Your strengths, you're positive, you're resourceful, and you're dynamic. And your weaknesses, you're intensive, you're isolated, and you're resistant. Okay, hey, let's move on to those born on this day so we know what company July 28 people are in. Maybe we get a better little snapshot of, maybe some pop culture icons that we know who, now we have an idea of the kind of personality type that applies to July 28 people. All right, we have born on this day, we have Marcel Duchamp, maybe, who's a French modern artist, object, language, and concept forerunner, the New York Dada movement founder, and it gave up art for chess. I believe he did that urinal that lays on its side, which more recently got destroyed. Well, recently, it's probably like 10 years ago now. Boy, how time flies. We have Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, the socialite, married to John F. Kennedy, and Aristotle Onassis. We have Beatrix Potter, the British children's book writer, and she created Peter Rabbit and Mrs. Tiggywinkle. We also have Alberto Fujimori, who was a Peruvian president, although that name sounds Japanese. Who else do we have? We have Bill Bradley, the U.S. Senator of New Jersey, and a lawyer, and U.S. Olympic basketball captain, and he helped the New York Knicks win 2 NBA titles. We have Riccardo Muti, who was an Italian conductor in the Philadelphia Orchestra, a violinist and a pianist. We also have Sally Struthers, the film actress. We also have Gerald Manley Hopkins, a British poet. Bruce Gould, who was a co-editor of the Ladies' Home Journal. Vita Blue was a baseball pitcher, MVP, and a Cy Young Award winner. We also have Malcolm Lowry, who was a British novelist of Under the Volcano. Mike Bloomfield, the rock blues guitarist. Was that Mike in the Mechanics? perhaps also of Genesis there. I'm not quite sure, but let's see. We got Rudy Valli, who was an entertainer and a singer. We have Jacopo Sannazaro, an Italian 15th century poet and a strong influence on English poetry. We also have Ludwig Feuerbach, was a German philosopher. We have Ignaz Bosendorfer, was a Viennese piano maker. We also have Joe E. Brown, the comedian and film actor. Joseph I, the German 17th, 18th century emperor, and Ballington Booth, the Salvation Army head and son of William, and Peter Duchin, the pianist. All right, your season is summer. Your sign, once again, is Leo, of the Leo 1 period specifically, and your quality and elements is fixed fire. And this has been July 28th of The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost, the day of the winner. That's you, baby. That's right. Assuming you were born on July 28th there. For all you other strangers and all you other curious Carls that came in to watch the video there. Another day, you're going to have to jump in for your birthday read, right? Yeah, I got an affiliate link for this book here in the description if you want to pick you up your own copy and not struggle through my reading of as much. But hey, I encourage you to shop through that link if you liked what you saw, because you would help support the channel by kicking me a little commission off the book or just doing your shopping through there. Would do the same as well. In any event, hey, if it was your birthday today there, July 28ers, I just want to say once again, happy birthday. I know I probably came off a little bit critical or judgmental. Hey, I just seeing it how it reads to me, and that's I get really finicky about leadership because I was treated like garbage by a lot of different people. So I like to pick that particular leadership quality apart. But as you read in the book here, what did it say? It said you have the chance to evolve. That's right. And you know what? I agree with it in the way that it said. You should do so. But if that's not you, well, hey, I fully encourage you going whole hog on being domineering. I just know what I'm going to do in a return. That's right. But in any event, hey, I just want to once again say happy birthday to you, all right? That's right. And everyone else, I hope to see you on your birthday reading. All right, take care of yourselves.